20 years in federal pound me in the prison for buying a single Pokemon card. How did we get here? Well, let's take a look. A man has applied for a PPP loan and received something like $86,000. In and of itself, that's a fine thing to do. You apply for a PPP loan, pay it back, no big deal. I didn't agree with it because it felt like the overwhelming majority of people taking it didn't need it. But if it's there, there's literally no reason not to take it as a small business owner. However, a Georgia man just couldn't help himself. Before we get into this story, just a quick word from our important sponsor, Meta PCs. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Meta PCs. Now, I know you're not going to run out and quick buy a brand new computer just because I ran this ad, but what I would hope is that you'll keep Meta PCs in mind for a variety of reasons and use my promo code, TheQuartering, to save big at checkout. Look, Meta PCs offers custom configurations. It has insane parts availability. They're one of the few people I see out there with the brand new NVIDIA 3090 in stock and shipping. When you buy from them, they offer you build photos as they work along. When you receive your PC, it's ready to go out of the box. It's 100% US-based sales and support. And one of my favorite things, it's a veteran-owned business. Meta PCs is veteran-owned. One of Meta's owners has served in Afghanistan and Iraq and received a Purple Heart for his service. Meta also employs military veterans in the Meta Operations Center and also provides systems to veterans going back to school to help them re-enter the workforce all across the United States. Meta PCs also offers financing. Head on over to MetaPC at metapcs.com. Use code TheQuartering at checkout to save money and support my content. If nothing else, go configure a PC, build a little wish list, and when you're ready, remember to use code TheQuartering at checkout at MetaPCs. I know I'll be getting myself a brand new one before the end of the year. Check out metapcs.com. Gamer or not, solid company building solid computers that you can save on using promo code QUARTERING, TheQuartering. Check them out. Now, this is via Louder with Crowder. A Georgia man could not help himself in his quest to be the best. Or I feel like they missed out on a gotta collect them all meme there, but this is like, you know, a conservative site. I'm not sure they would know. Vinath Autumcini? I don't really care. Vinath not going to work here anymore, use over half of his federally granted relief funds to purchase a single Pokemon card worth $57,789. What this is money laundering. We saw even like Boogie admit to it. Tax fraud, gray area of tax fraud where you're spending money on these unregulated goods, magic cards or Pokemon cards. Some IRS auditor is going to come in there. You could show them a mountain of cards that you spent your money on, and they'll never know that you took the 10 cards that are worth anything out of it. It's a serious problem. Well, it's not really a serious problem. I hope it was made of gold because that's too much money to be spending on a shiny piece of cardstock. Yeah, that's a boomer take. The New York Post reports that the grant was fraudulently applied for in July 2020, where the moron had indicated in his request that his business had been in operation since 2018. He employed 10 people. His annual revenue was about $235,000. He was granted $85,000 under the CARES Act, which passed in March 2020. Well, let me tell you this. That's a huge problem. That's way too much money to be giving away, especially based on a company that annual revenue was just $235,000. That's gross. Gross revenue. Excuse me. The CARES Act was only one in a series of ridiculous half-baked policies enacted during the coup fiasco. There was also the unconstitutional eviction moratorium that put in jeopardy the livelihoods of landlords to allow tenants to live rent-free. And presently the Congress is haggling over just how much more money to spend and what pet projects it will be spent. He now faces 20 years behind bars in federal prison and up to $250,000 in fine. By the way, he should get it all. Maximum sentence, maximum fine. Needless to say, he will not be traveling across the land, searching far and wide for his sentence after his sentence comes down, but this is his destiny. He'll just have to catch them all, I suppose. I'm sure he'll make some friends in jail who also are diehard Pokemon trainers. Or not. I mean, it is absolutely insane. What he tried to do is use Pokemon cards to hide his money. And he got caught. Now, this is something that I've reported on this channel before. You know, people taking this money who didn't need it. There were numerous people in our space, like Mr. Beast or FaZe Clan, who took millions of dollars in PPP loans. Now, taking a PPP loan isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially if you pay it back. That's what it was there for. I would never have voted for PPP loans because I knew that they would be taken advantage of, but I advised all my friends who own businesses to apply for them because why wouldn't you? But you had people like, you know, most notably this organization FaZe Clan, which, by the way, had just raised $40 million in fundraising that included musical celebrities, pro athletes, and chief executives. The organization received a PPP loan between $1 and $2 million through the program. I'm talking about other people who took advantage of it who didn't need it. In addition to FaZe, 8 other organizations applied for and received at least $150,000 in PPP loans. Look, I have a day job, a company that has numerous full-time salaried employees. The day job company took a PPP loan as a payroll protection, you know, to make sure that we had cash to keep everyone employed. They took it like as its intended purpose, not to buy Pokemon cards. You know, it's interesting, you know, when you're FaZe Clan and you're worth $1 billion as of today, why you would also take that kind of money out. You know, esports was unaffected by the lockdowns. In fact, it was growing rapidly because people are stuck at home. There's, you know, for example, in my marketing agency, we were greatly affected by it because advertising budgets in some of my clients went to zero during that time because they literally couldn't be open to serve their customers. I had to make sure I could still pay my employees. So, you know, and we laid 0 people off. In fact, we hired more during it. It's just an optical thing when you're, you know, a $1 million esports agency or, you know, Jeffree Star or Mr. Beast, who these people are multi-millionaires getting hundreds of $1,000s in relief loans. That's not great. Mr. Beast took between $350,000 and $1 million. FaZe Clan got $1 million to $2 million in taxpayer money. Mr. Beast, YouTube LLC, and Jeffree Star Cosmetics both received loans intended to provide relief to small businesses hurt by the lockdowns. ProPublica's database company is over 100 approved for all companies approved over 150K, included Mr. Beast, Jeffree Star, FaZe Clan. I doubt that Mr. Beast took an economic hit during this. Maybe they did. Jeffree Star sold makeup? Maybe. I guess. It just shows that, like, these, you know, this is why I have such a problem with these programs. They start out with perhaps good intentions. Like, there are genuinely people that need them. But when you have, excuse me, here's from July of this year. LA man locked up over $27 million PPP fraud. According to documents, he submitted 27 bank loan applications to 4 banks between April and June on behalf of 8 companies solely owned by himself. In the applications, he sought for a total of $27 million in forgivable PPP loans, meaning he wouldn't have to pay them back. In his fraudulent applications, he represented that each of his companies had 100 employees, an average monthly payroll of $400,000. even though he knew that the companies did not have employees or payroll expenses. The IRS is always going to get you. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but hey, I forgot legitimately. One night I was like 2 days before New Year's, and I was at the casino, one of the last times I ever went, and I won a large sum of money. I think it was like $30,000 or something like that. And I legitimately, because I don't do my taxes until October of the next year for my business taxes, I legitimately just forgotten about it. Well, 3 years later, the IRS showed up at my door, and it cost me almost $100,000 between paying my accountant and everything else. And I just forgot. I wasn't like nefariously trying to hide it. So, these people that are out there scamming the system, they only hurt you and me. And so I don't have any problem with Georgia man getting the maximum of 20 years and $250,000 in fines, because until you make an example of these people, right? Like, this was a knowing abuse of the system. Until you make an example of these people, it's going to continue. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.